Can I eat my scone? Shall we?
Oh, yeah.
Shall we mow on these?
Dude, we're going to make this like
home.
We'll do this thing where I clap and then I'll have it on. All right. Now I've got my flannel on.
Dang! Whoa, whoa.
All right, guys. So I'm here with Brittany Kraft. All right, and Brittany, tell us what you do at Hope and sort of some of the parachurch stuff that you do too.
I am currently interning at Hope, but I help with the youth programs, and so I'm just brushing my scone crumbs off.
So good.
This is natural, baby.
Yeah.
I help with the youth ministry and just kind of like got a hand in some things. I'm in youth group and helping lead that, and also I help with Flow. So yeah, it's kind of the extent.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
This interview is going to be a little informal, so we're doing brekkie in an interview today. How did you come to know Jesus?
Well, I first heard about Jesus at a church camp, and I was like, whoa. I grew up Catholic, so I was like, God is scary. I'm going to be struck down by lightning any day now. And I was like 7. And I was like, it's going to be my day. I'm be lucky if I make it to 10. And then I went to this Christian camp, and we heard about Jesus as this loving, he's loving and gracious. And I was like, oh, well, that I can understand. And so I was like, oh, okay, I'm curious. And I went to church growing up and kind of here and there. My family didn't really go. And so it wasn't until I was actually like 20 years old, so like 10 years ago, I really started to pursue Jesus, and that's where I got to know Jesus. So I feel like, I knew of him, but it was I knew who Jesus was. I knew the good things about him, but I hadn't really pursued him with all my heart until about 10 years ago, and that's the game changer. That's where I feel like I've come to know Jesus.
Dope.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
What brought you to Santa Cruz?
Originally, I came to Santa Cruz I moved down to Santa Cruz a little over 2 years ago to come down and take care of my grandma. I was living in with her and taking care of her full time, and I thought, when that adventure was over, that I would just go back home to Auburn and carry on. But I had started to go to Hope and really got engaged with the community and felt God was like, no, I'm putting your roots in here. And I was like, okay, swing open the doors. I am down to stay. And he has just made the way for me to be here. So I'm still here, still hanging.
That's so dope. What has been the biggest impact Christ has had on your personal community, like the people immediately surrounding you?
Ooh. I've really seen God transform my family life. It's really started in my heart. Even growing up, I was going to church with my neighbor. I'd go bum a ride with my neighbor and go to church, and my family didn't really go. And I've sort of it's been an opportunity to just really focus on my heart and where I am with Christ, and that just shows, when I'm hanging with my family and they're like, oh, you're a little more patient, or there's a little more. And so I've seen him really transform the hearts of my whole family, and we've been able to just talk about it, and he's healed all of our view of how he operates. And so that's been really cool. That's one way that I've really seen him change the community around me, is just how he's grown and renewed the hearts of my family from this view of God being judgmental and unkind to this gracious, loving Father who is accepting of us and really rooting for us and trying to help us. So it's been cool to see that transformation.
Yeah.
It's a different way. You live differently when you recognize God as a loving Father that he is.
Yeah.
That's
really cool. I think I've heard a lot of stories about people's surroundings have changed in that there's been different people in their lives, but if I'm hearing you right, it sounds like you've had the same people in your life, but the change has been you. Which that's super dope. That's really cool.
Yeah.
Awesome. I love that. what would you say, and maybe you've already alluded to this a little bit, but what would you say is the biggest impact Christ has had on your life?
I would say the biggest impact Christ has had on my life is the renewal of mind. I really see I can understand why that's a natural part of our growing in Him, is Him renewing our mind. I feel like in the last few years even, He has really shown me the things that have, just all the things you pick up along the way, lies about yourself or the way you perceive the world that is incorrect because of ways you've been hurt in the past. He wants to reveal that to you and then wash it away.
Yeah.
And it's such a beautiful thing that He cares enough to do that for us. And not only does He rewrite our memories and rewrite our stories, but He shows us this glimpse of the future and just fills us with more of Him. It's like, it's mind-blowing. It's mind-blowing. And I feel like that has been the greatest impact because it's completely changed the way I've lived. And knowing His love in this way, I understand why those commandments are in place. It's a loving thing, and it's like, I just want to honor Him. You know, whereas before I was like, you're telling me not to lie, and you're telling me how to do this, like, that's pretty hard. I don't know if I can do that. But now that He's renewed my mind, and it's been a process, but I see the love, and I'm like, He's prepared me to abide in Him in that way.
Yeah.
So, yeah. I think that answers the question.
Yeah,
I'm
absolutely.
not sure.
No, that was a
Got
great
lost in the
answer.
treetops.
Lastly, how has coronavirus affected you, yourself, your family, any one of those things you'd like to answer?
I would say that I am sensitive to people who are susceptible to illness, who are in fear. I also really think this is such a rare opportunity, and just to really highlight Jesus, like being countercultural in our world. You can do that. People aren't always in the mind to pay attention, but when people are stricken with fear and you're walking through the grocery store with a huge beaming smile, saying, hey, how are you? Be well. God bless you. Whatever. Like, it's countercultural right now to smile and to be hopeful and to not be afraid. And so, while I am sensitive to people who are in that state of mind that are really feeling the anxiety of all these what ifs and what is going to happen, I just feel like this time has allowed me to really, really focus on God's presence. And that's all we have is the present moment. That's where the peace is. And just having the space and not having to rush around and do things, I'm really just thriving in God's presence and sharing that with the world. I've definitely had moments where there's been anxiety, and suffering, but for the most part, it's been a really beautiful gift to just be in God's presence and share that with people. Just unleash it everywhere, because I think people are more able to recognize it in this time, in contrast to the craziness that's going on in the world. Yeah. So I think that's a gift of this time.
Yeah. I can definitely say from somebody I've definitely been on the more anxiety end of the spectrum more than I have been on like the cheerful, exuberant end, unfortunately. But I will say, having been on that end, I definitely appreciate seeing those people that do have a smile on their face. And I know that that's definitely a gift. So, and I know that people appreciate it. So that's really dope.
That's good.
Well, cool. Thanks for hiking all the way up here. Twice. We got a little lost on the way.
We got lost at Prayer Mountain. What better place to get lost?
Honestly.
Check it out, Prayer Mountain.
Guys, that was your Saturday story. Brittany Craft, once again. And don't forget to tune in tomorrow, 9 a.m. for Soquel and 10 a.m. for Scotts Valley. We love you, and we'll see you in the next one. Peace.
Love y'all. Bye.